Pokemon Champions is finally out, and with it, we have 23 new Mega Pokemon finally available in competitive play. Today, I'm joined by my friend Chris as we rank how good we think each of them are in Regulation MA. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by 90% of the O2 drop, Mr. Christopher Ma.
Hey, it's good, easy. Yes, the best part of the O2 drop here to do some amazing tier slop. I'm so excited.
All right, so
Premium tier slop.
It is premium. It is premium. So today we're going to be talking about all of the new Mega Evolutions available in Regulation MA for Pokemon Champion. So this is the first time we've got to see any of these Pokemon competitively. Obviously, we did get their abilities a few days ago now. We've had a couple days, I guess, to play the format. I guess, Chris, before we jump into it, so far, like, what are your thoughts on MA? Have you had a chance to play a bit of it?
I have very strong opinions, which I've been read for filth on Twitter and Discord the last couple of days. But I think there's a lot more to experiment with still, and I think people are going to be running crazy stuff for the next few weeks. But I think there's actually quite a lot of variety, especially like mega choices and mons. I've got a few things that I've decided works and a few things that decided doesn't work at all. And yeah, I've poured a drink and I'm really excited to
jump in,
get into it.
All right, so I guess just to run through this before we get into it, the S tier today will be the most broken Pokemon in the format. The A tier is the very good Pokemon. The B tier are the solid ones. The C tier is pretty niche, and the F tier is what we deem probably to be the most unplayable. But let's kick things off here with Mega Victreebel. Now, Chris, do you have any thoughts on the Victreebel here?
Look, in and out, the ability is a funny meme, but it's also a little bit lethal. It's just unfortunate that you have to mega. It's a bit of a waste of a mega slot, but I've seen footage online of in and out taking scalps, you know, like knocking out Mega Gardevoirs and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I will say, when I saw this ability, I was like, this is bad, it's awful. Obviously, prior to this, it was Pyukumuku's ability, right? And Pyukumuku has, like, no HP. So yeah, it only has 55 base HP, so, like, you weren't really dealing much damage with it. But thanks to Victreebel having, like, a base 80 HP, like, if you were to max this out, like, that is, like, one-shotting a lot of Pokemon. Like, even things like Eternal Floette, I believe, if it goes, like, max HP, I think it only hits, like, 181 or something like that. So, you know, if it was to one-shot you, you just, like, one-shot in return. So because of that, it's not bad. I think as a Poison Grass type, it's probably still outclassed by Venusaur. Like, my initial thought is the C tier. I guess, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I think you can't ignore it, right? Because it can sit on the field and just spam either Toxic or Sleep Powder and just spread status, right? Which is a problem. But if you attack it, obviously you're risking in and out. It's pretty slow. Its bulk's not great, which kind of works for it with its ability, to be honest.
Very true.
I also gave it C tier. I think because of like the meme, it's not unplayable, but there's like, you would run this if you just had like a 6 slot and you needed like a mega Pokemon for the sake of it, and you didn't have a grass type on the team. Maybe, you know, it's not great, but it's not unplayable.
Yeah,
it does just enough.
Like, I feel like if we had another really good Sunsetter that wasn't Mega Charizard, it could be pretty decent, where it's like you could play it as like a Chlorophyll Sleep Mon that can Mega, but without it, I think it does get a bit difficult. But yeah, look, I think C tier is fine. I definitely think it's a bit of a gimmick, right? But it also does a lot of damage. You can't just ignore it, because like Sludge Bomb's off 135 base special attack is still really strong. But yeah, I'm happy to say C tier. I don't think it's good by any means, but like, I think you could play it and win some games on the ladder.
If you hate Venusaur, this is the mon for you.
Yeah, maybe. All right, next up, we have Mega Clef. Mega Clef's interesting, right? It did get Magic Balance, which I don't think is amazing in this format. At least so far, I haven't seen too much, like, Taunt. Obviously, there's no Spore in the format now with Amoonguss gone. But look, Mega Clef still has great abilities. Great stats. I think my issue with Mega Clef is I think Base Clef is probably just better. It's like, you're better off like using this mon as just like a redirection mon rather than a fairy attacker. Especially too, because like, I think there's 2 other Mega Fairy types in the format that are just straight up better than it.
Yeah. It's got great bulk. It's kind of slow, 135 special attacks, nothing to write home about. I mean, I guess you could set up a Calm Mind set and they can't Encore you, they can't Taunt you, which is great. But I think there's better, you know, why would you run this over like Mega Floette, for example? So I think you know, maybe its role would be just sitting there as a fat tank, spamming heal, pulse, and life dew as like a support mon. But then I feel like that's a waste of a mega slot. I think you're better off running base clef for that. So also it doesn't learn Tailwind, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, as a flying type especially.
Yeah, I also had this in C tier as well because I think you can never discredit like a bulky fairy type with Follow Me and 135 special attack. It's not unplayable, but no higher than C.
Yeah, and look, I think it is worth mentioning, it is a fairy type with amazing coverage, right? It does have the Gen 1 moves, right? It's got Flamethrower, it's got Ice Beam, it's got Icy Wind. Like, you look through the list here, it actually does get, like, pretty insane coverage. But I agree. I think as the format is like currently constructed, it's not very good. Like maybe the day where like Amoonguss and Pokemon like that are back in the metagame and we are seeing things like, you know, Spores clicked, maybe it gets a bit better as like a redirection mod, and maybe as the power level increases and maybe the megas aren't as centralizing to the format, it could be better. But yeah, I think as of right now, it's for me at least a C tier.
Another opportunity cost. Like it's just, this is your mega
exactly
slot, right?
And again, like we speak about like better fairies, like there's already, I think, 3 or 4 fairy types on this list that are all pretty decent. So like, if you're not the best, then it's pretty hard, I think, to be any higher than the C tier for me. But the next one, I'm actually really curious. What are your opinions on Mega Starmie?
This one is an awkward mon, right? Because when it megas, it gets huge power, and therefore you're wanting to invest in its attack stat to like maximize what you get out of running mon, right? So you want huge power, effectively like a 200 plus like base attack. And this is one of those Pokemon where if you bring it to your 4 Pokemon in the doubles battle, you need to mega it. Because if you bring it, you have to mega it. Otherwise, if you bring it and it's a physically invested base Starmie that's going to do absolutely nothing, so you have to mega it, which is a really big downside. Zen Headbutt is not a good move, and neither is Psycho Cut, really, even with this huge attack stat. 120 speed's a little awkward. I guess it gets Ice Spinner, which is amazing. Aqua Jet, Liquidation, Flip Turn. Like, these are all really, really good moves for a fast Pokemon to have with a massive, huge power, like, backed attack stat. But again, is this a waste of your Mega Slot? Is there better water Pokemon you could run, like, I don't know, maybe a Mega Gyarados or something like that?
I guess my opinion is I do think it's really good. I unfortunately, like, because we don't have the updated Showdown ladder yet, I haven't had a chance to play around with it too much. I do think as a water type, it may be one of the premier water types in the game right now. I think the biggest thing going against it, as you kind of mentioned, is that speed tier. Like, 120 by no means is bad. When you look at some of the top threats, you know, there are guys like Mega Gengar, Mega Delphox is around. We're even seeing Mega Aerodactyl pick up, which this Pokemon actually does have a decent matchup into. But you're in this awkward speed tier where you kind of can't outspeed everything you want to outspeed. But then Basculegion is also currently just like, it feels like the best water type in the game. I think it's really, like, I think Basque is really, really good. Like, I personally do think Starmie is a little underrated. And this is a Pokemon that I think maybe gets better as the format goes on. Because, like, again, it also has access to things like Bulk Up, right? Again, you don't necessarily even have to run the Psychic coverage on this mon. I do agree if it had something like Psychic Fang, I feel like it would just feel way better. Just having, like, a reliable Psychic type attack. Also, not having Wave Crash also kind of hurts it a bit as well. I think for me, it's a B tier. I think it has everything it needs to be a good Pokemon. I just don't think the current format allows for it to be as good as it could be.
Yeah, I also had it B tier. I guess there's the self-destruct meme. It technically is the best self-destruct user in the game now. But it's like you're blowing up your own Mega. Sure, if you just wanted like a 4th move slot to chuck on there, like if we ever get Choice Band, for example, and you're about to lose your Starmie, so you just go out with a bang and self-destruct.
You can't ban it. It's a Mega.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, very good point. I do that every time. I forget the Mega. Cause it's been a long time since we've had Megas in the game. Yeah, I don't know when you click self-destruct on your own Mega slot. It's a bit crazy, but I mean, it's funny.
Yeah. Like, look, I think the only time you would ever boom your own Mega is if it's like literally a last-ditch effort and you're like, I just need to KO something I have no matchup into. Like, maybe you just got to nuke I can't even think of something that your stab moves don't necessarily hit, but like, yeah, like maybe there's a mon like a Kang or something, it has to go down, but yeah, I'm pretty happy to put it in the B tier. Again, I think the mon's solid, I just don't think the meta really allows for it to be great. Mega D-Knight. I guess, what are your thoughts on D-Knight? Because originally I didn't have high hopes for it coming into the format, but then when our Chaladon got nerfed, like, it kind of became the best special attacker in Rain. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, like, what you think of it.
This is a really interesting mon. First of all, you've got Inner Focus in its base form and Multiscale when it Mega Evolves, which is useful. It does set Tailwind, very useful, because there isn't that many great Tailwind setters in the format at the moment. I think it kind of wants Rain up because you want No Miss Hurricane, you've got Thunder, Weather Ball. Like, it really likes being in the rain just because of its move set. You could not Mega it because it's still got 124 attack, but it's like, if you're bringing it and not megaing it, it feels like a waste. I don't know. So it's got amazing bulk, especially with multi-scale. The problem I've found in playtesting is that you do actually need to invest in bulk. You can't just go max speed, Spatak. You need to have a bit of bulk, because if you don't invest in some HP or Spadef, you're getting one shot by other Dragonite with Draco Meteor or Floette. They both one shot you through multi-scale without bulk.
Okay, I didn't know that. It's kind of crazy.
Crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a very high roll without any bulk. So 100 base speed is not bad considering how bulky it is, and 145 special attack, Draco Meteor to the face.
Yeah, especially on a modest nature too. It's pretty high. Yeah, I think, look, it's definitely an interesting mon. I do think, like, a physical set is underexplored. Like, I think physical DD on, like, an Earthworm team could be pretty good. Like, where you go, like, D-Knight Chomp Earthworm, or Earthworm, however you want to pronounce it. But I do think right now it is the premier special attacker on Rain in particular. Just because, again, the Hurricanes of this thing slap. Like, it is the strongest flying type in the game right now, and flying type, offensively at least, is always incredible. I would personally say it's in the A tier. It also has, like, again, incredible stats. This is obviously a pseudo legend. It has 700 BST. I think it's actually, it's not the only pseudo mega, right? Because we do have Mega Chomp, but that mon is also not good. So yeah,
I agree with A.
Yeah, I think it's A.
Like, I think there's like a little bit of just basically a low-powered format, kind of like your Reg A, B, C from Scarlet Violet, right? Where these things are like this, like, are coming out to shine. I think it has a great niche where it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a threat. I think A is appropriate.
Yeah, and also I think it's worth mentioning as well, base D-Knight itself is also just really good, which I do think kind of adds to its placement. Like, we just saw, I'm pretty sure that was like the 500 player tour hosted by Nino and Himi, where, like, Lumberry D-Knight won, and the guy who won it, like, he commented on my last video saying that the reason for Lumberry was specifically for the Sun matchup, because it's like you can't just get sleep powdered by Venusaur. So yeah, D-Knight I think just in general is pretty good, and I think its mega definitely adds to its viability.
It's sad. It's sad that there's no loaded dice in the game.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get that back soon enough. But we'll move on to Meganium. I don't know how I feel about this mon. Like, it feels like this is probably the second best special attacker on Rain. Actually, probably third, really. I think Mega Gengar is probably far better than this on Rain. How do you feel about Meganium? I think it needed a low power format, which it got, and I still think it's a bit underwhelming.
Look, 143 base special attack, great bulk, let down by its speed and its typing. Like, Fairy Grass is not amazing defensively. It has fat solar beams. It has pretty fat dazzling gleams. It's really interesting that Weather Ball acts like a fire attack in Rain. If Rain is up, it still acts like a fire move that's not impacted by Rain at all.
Yeah,
which is
very cool.
Great. You do want to put this on a Rain team to get most out of it, but it really needs Moonblast. Like, it really needs Moonblast to take it to the next level. I actually had this in B tier because I think it has this niche of, like, a Rain Pokemon that's like Grass Fairy in Rain.
Yeah.
I had this as B, but like low B, like the lowest of Bs.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I kind of feel. Like, I do think it's much more useful than the two mons we currently have in the C tier, but I also don't think it's as good as Starmie. So, like, I'm happy to keep it in the B tier for now and kind of see how this tier list plays out. But yeah, I think you nailed it, right? It's not great at any one thing outside of, like, Solar Beam specifically. And as a Solar Beamer, like, it is pretty good. Like, it is probably the best offensive grass type in the format, I would say. But again, I think you're right. I don't think it's super flexible. I feel like it has to be played on Rain almost to be really successful. But
And you
yeah,
have to mega because base Meganium literally does nothing.
yes, true.
So...
It does have a useless base form. But yeah, I'm pretty happy to keep it in the B tier. We'll move on though to Megagator. Now, this is one of my personal favorite megas. I unfortunately am yet to touch it in in Champions. I do really want to get around to it shortly. How do you feel about it? Like, I think this one's actually pretty decent.
Well, obviously Dragon Eyes, big double edge go boom is great. 160 attack, great. Great. Dragon Water, amazing typing, amazing bulk. Everything going for it apart from its 78 speed, and this is where you kind of have to get a bit creative and get some support. It gets Dragon Dance, it gets Swords Dance, and it gets Scale Shot, all of which are like decent setup options for it. I think typing alone, and it's like, I think typing alone and it's like attack stat and it's move pool, I think B tier. I think it's better than Meganium on like, but I don't think it's as good as Starmie, but I think it's really, really good. You could build a team around this Pokemon, and I don't think you would do terribly.
I feel like,
yeah.
Sorry, go.
And base Feraligatr it could do something on the field.
Yeah, liquidations with sheer force are still actually quite strong. Yeah, I think I agree with you, right? This Pokemon does have great coverage, right? And obviously the main like thing going for it is Dragon Eyes, right? Having like I think it's like 144 base power on its double edges is kind of crazy, especially coming off 160 attack. Its bulk is also not bad, like 85, 125, and 93 is like pretty respectable. You did mention the speed stats pretty lackluster. And I think right now, like, you would have to hit like 112-ish if you wanted to like outspeed the things like Mega Arrow and Tailwind, which is worth mentioning. But like, I do think a set like this, honestly, like, isn't too bad, right? Like, I feel like a set like this, it's pretty bulky. It hits incredibly hard. You could even drop some of the offense, to be completely honest. And I've also checked some calcs with this thing too. Like, you straight up like one shot a no bulk Charizard. Like, I remember I looked at it and it was like no bulk Charizard took like 130% minimum to double edge. So like, I don't even know if like max HP Zard would live with double edge, but it's definitely not the easiest Pokemon to build around, but I do think it's solid. Like, I think B tier is a great spot for it because I do think on the right team it could potentially be an A tier mon, but realistically, like, it's, you know, more often than not B. Especially too with how many strong dragons and fairy types are running around. Like, it feels like every team's got at least one, if not two dragons. It's typically like Garchomp +1. And then again, you know, we talk about some of the Pokemon. I don't want to spoil it, but I think the best Pokemon in the format right now is a fairy type. And then you also have things like Primarina and Sylveon seeing usage as well. So I do think it's strong, and on the right team, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I think like middle of B tier is probably the best spot for it.
I reckon, I'm not sure about, you had Body Slam on that set. I don't know if I'd probably put Protect, just because
it was
you need to get Tailwind up, and
Yeah,
you
I
probably
agree.
might need to buy a turn depending on what your Tailwind user is. But yeah, like, with the right setup, this thing could catch you unawares, I reckon, and ladder. You could get swept by this if you're not careful.
100%. Yeah. The Body Slam was just more of a, like, that's the other option people are running, having Body Slam over Double Edge because you don't want to take the recoil. Because, again, like, I think if you get up a DD, or an SD, sorry, there's not really anything in the game that's, like, taking the Body Slam either. So I do think on, like, a SD set, then Body Slam's probably a bit better. But, again, it just depends how you're playing it, I think. Anyway, we'll move on to Mega Skarmory. For me, this was kind of like one of the most underwhelming Pokemon in the format. I do think it has the potential to actually be like a really good sleeper pick. But as of right now, I have not seen this Pokemon do anything. Like, I haven't seen it in any tours. I haven't seen it on ladder. I look at it and it's pretty underwhelming. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it does exactly.
I'm on board with that. I also don't understand what this actually does. Like, I'll give it the pros: good typing, good bulk. So it's not going down in one hit most likely.
It needs HP though.
Yeah, true. You have to go max HP depending on all, like, 110 speeds, not bad. 140 attacks, pretty good. You're going to hit a nice Brave Bird out of that. But I mean, Stalwart is unique. Like, if we ever need mons that dodge, you know, Rage Powder, Follow Me, if that becomes a problem in the metagame, this could be an option. But it's just a waste of a Mega slot. I mean, it sets Tailwind. We can never discredit a Tailwind setter like Corviknight. Corviknight has filled a similar role in previous metagames. I guess it's one redeeming quality I'll give it its kudos for, is that it can effectively tank a Floette Moonblast, like switch into Floette or be on the field in front of Floette and set Tailwind and not be threatened by it. I think that is a slight niche. For me, puts it top of C tier. I think it's like C+.
I do want to say one thing. I have not done the calc, but I do not think you swap into a Moonblast into a Light of Ruin. I actually think you just get carried by that double up.
With bulk?
Yeah, with max HP, yeah. Dude, I hit a Charizard the other day for 80% with a Moonblast. It was, yeah. And Zard's bulk, like on the special side, is actually better than this. It's base 110 in Mega, so... Yeah, and again, look, I think Eternal Floette is just a little stupid. Again, we'll get to that later. I will say Stalwart plus Steel move into Floette is very interesting because you can't, like, save it essentially from Skarmory, which is where I do think its one niche is. But unfortunately, I don't think Iron Head even picks up a one-shot, even off 140 attack. Like, this thing would need an Adamant Nature to, like, really deal the damage I think it needs to. And if that Floette has, like, an Incin, an Arcanine, a Gyarados, like, anything that has Intimidate, I just don't think it picks up the one-shot. And that's why I too think it's probably in the C tier. Like, it's probably better than these two, but realistically, it's not very good.
Yeah, if I can get into a damage calculator and try this now, but yeah, like C tier for me. It's better than I think it's better than Victreebel.
I agree. Yeah.
And someone will probably find a way to use this, but we just haven't.
I think it has potential. I think it's going to be very difficult to make it succeed. But we will move on here to Mega Chimecho. This is another one of those mons that I think is a little underwhelming. Its ability is actually not bad. Like, Levitate on a Steel type is pretty decent. I think it's just let down by the fact that it has pretty bad stats. Like, its bulk's not bad. Its special attack's solid, but I think this is a mon that probably needed to have, like, 25 less speed to really see any success, I think. Is there anything you have to say, I guess, about Chimecho?
Well, first of all, base Chimecho is awful, so you have to mega this if you bring it. Decent bulk, 135 special attack. To be honest,
no attacks though.
Yeah, to be honest, I think this is first of all it's got Levitate, so no Psy spam with Expanding Force. Levitate's not a great ability for this Pokemon. I honestly think this is hot garbage. It's a great design, so I'm calling it hot garbage. Outclassed by Bronzong, outclassed by base Metagross.
I think it has a different niche to both of those mons, though. Like, because it can set its own Trick Room, don't forget, and it actually deals quite a bit of damage, but...
It's got 65 speed, so what is it doing in Trick Room? I think there's two things I could see this potentially doing. One, it's a Helping Hand user with Levitate that can sit next to an Earthquake user and click Helping Hand. Or two, it has got Trick Room in Prison. And it can, like, wall hard Trick Room leads.
I think, did it lose Perish Song?
I think if you're bringing... I honestly had this in, like, F tier, to be honest with you. I think if you're bringing this, the kitchen's on fire. Not only is the meal cooked, like, burnt, but you've cooked it so much the kitchen's on fire.
Yeah, it also doesn't have Perish Song. I thought it had Perish Song. So that automatically makes it feel even worse, in my opinion. Dude, you might be right. Maybe it is. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we're gonna see some Wolf Glick team because, like, obviously, like, if anyone did see his, like, YouTube posts and whatnot before Champions drops, he did a poll like, what mega should I make work? And, like, Chimecho had like 80-something% of the votes. So, Wolf Glick will be pulling up with this probably to the Score tournament, I would assume. Maybe he's gonna prove us all wrong and this thing's actually goated with the source. But I do think you've kind of convinced me. I originally didn't think this mon was that bad. Its bulk is solid. Levitate's not bad on a Steel type. But, like, looking through its moves, it's got nothing. Like, I thought it had, like, Boom Burst. Like, I mean, does it have Flash Cannon?
I think it does. I don't think
it has to get Flash Cannon.
It does.
Right?
I think it does get Boom Burst.
Does it? Yeah, it does get Boom Burst. Okay, because, like, that's what I thought. I thought it was gonna get, like, Steeliate and have, like, you know, make it rain on steroids. Like, that's what I thought they were gonna give this thing. But alas, they did not. Yeah, it gets Flash Cannon. Yeah, you're right. I think this thing's garbage. It doesn't have any good attacks.
Before we get yelled at in the comments, Scoot, I'll just say that 252 Fairy Aura Mega Floette. Let me make sure. Modest. Oh, I better do the. The nature mod. Okay, yep. Modest against 252 HP. Okay, so 252. It's 32
max HP
now.
Yeah, max
HP Mega Skarmory is
What's Moonblast?
58% to 69% with a Moonblast. With
Wait,
Fairy
so,
Aura.
wait, what's a Light of Ruin do? That might just one tap.
Light of Ruin, I don't think is. Oh,
It's
okay,
140 base power.
I'll put Light of Ruin in just to. I mean,
Because
if you're running.
This is the
Light of
issue with the
Ruin-
Bond, yeah? You get down to 10%, you click Light of Ruin, and you take something with you.
That's true. I'll give you that. Light
So
of Ruin is 86 to 102, so it's a low roll to KO. With
That's a
Light of
resist
Ruin.
on a bomb with 110 speed def, dude. That is absurd. All right. We'll talk about that Pokemon when we get to it. Mega Froslass, though. I think this one's pretty good. I've seen quite a few people have success with it. Obviously, it is the premier snow setter all of a sudden. It's pretty good at clicking Blizzard too. You know, it does a bit of damage, which is nice. It has Aurora Veil. It clicks a pretty mean Shadow Ball. It has things like Destiny Bond. It has Icy Wind. Yeah, give me your thoughts on this this beast of a mon.
Look, obviously, weather setting is very nice because I feel like this is very much a weather-orientated metagame at the moment. It does have 120 speed, 140 special attack, and spams Blizzard. However, this is another one of those Pokemon. If you bring it, you have to Mega it because base Froslass is woeful.
Has Cursed Body.
If it's going to lose, it's going to die after before the Cursed Body kicks in. It does get some really good support moves like Will-O-Wisp and Taunt.
True, it does get
and Icy Wind, but like you're wasting your Mega slot on these support moves. You have to be like a really good Pokemon to waste a move slot on a Mega for a support move. But Veil has a niche. I'll give Veil its dues, but the problem I've seen and found is that it kind of dies before it sets the Veil up. Like it's 120 speed's not bad, but it's so frail that you've really got to make sure it can get that Veil up. Otherwise, this isn't going to last on the field very long. So you've put it in A. I have this as B tier because I think on paper it's like, oh wow, 140 special attack, sets snow, spam Blizzard, gets Aurora Veil, Icy Wind. This is going to be the bee's knees. I think in reality, it kind of just dies before it does much.
Well, look, it has had success in tournaments. I'm not against B tier. Like, I did look at the list quickly and just think, where do I rank this? I think this is either the worst A tier mon or it's the best B tier mon, in my opinion. So like, I'd be happy with putting it at the top of B, but like, I also think it's like probably the spot behind D9.
Yeah, like, I think A plus B minus is good. Sorry, B plus A minus. Maybe we wait till the end and just see what else is in the tiers.
I'm with you because again, I think if B tier ends up being like 10 mons, like I think it's better than these 3 Pokemon here. So I think if B tier ends up getting a bit too flooded, I agree. I think it slides up. We'll talk about Emboar. Do we need to say anything? I think this is a straight F tier mon, right? Like it's not. I don't think it does anything. Like
here's the funny thing about Emboar. There, like for example, I've been running Mega Gyarados with Mold Breaker, and this gets Mold Breaker as well. And there, you never know. Like there's a lot of Levitate mons in this format, and this has Earthquake, and sometimes having that Mold Breaker does actually kick in and help. I think Mold Breaker is very niche. I don't think it's going to be appreciated until we find a situation where we really need a Mold Breaker mon. 148 attack, right? So decent bulk, let down by 75 speed, obviously. It gets Yawn, I guess.
You're not clicking Yawn.
It gets Bulk Up Drain Punch, which I think is probably...
that's not bad. I mean, its defense stats where it lacks. It's got really good HP, attack, and speed def. So, I mean, Bulk Up Drain Punch could also be pretty decent on it, I guess.
One thing I think is kind of cool with Emboar is that, apart from it's shiny, shiny's very cool.
Yeah, one of the best shinies for sure.
Yeah, the base Emboar gets Reckless and it gets Flare Blitz. So, like, this is a mon where if you're maybe running like a Sun team or something and you don't Mega it, you could still, like, do a lot of damage with Reckless Flare Blitz. Which I think, for me, puts it in, like, C, maybe even C+, because I can see... It also gets Solar Blade, and, like, if you're running this in a Sun team, it gets Solar Blade, which is pretty cool. It doesn't get it in Showdown, but it does get it in Cerebi.
Yeah, it's not updated yet. I back you. Look, I think I can't put it above Skarmory personally. Like that's if you wanted to tell me it's better than this, sure. I don't think I can even put it above Clef. Like I think this mod is straight ass, man. Like again, maybe as a centerpiece with like bulk up, you could make it work on the right team. But like my thing is like we're in a format, right, where we have no damaging items, right? Specs, Scarf, Life Orb are all gone, right? So the best damaging items we have are things like Soft Sand and Brave and Sharp Beak, right? This Pokemon with Reckless is just stronger in its base form. It's a better Trick Room mod in its base form.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, the Spadef is probably the big thing it gets, but like, I almost feel like this one with like Assault Vest might just be better than its Mega. And that's kind of my thoughts.
You convinced me. Put it in F tier. And my argument for the Bulk Up Drain Punch is like it's completely outclassed by Mega Chesnaught. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think this is F tier. You've convinced me.
I think one other thing I will throw out there again, it always comes back to opportunity cost. In my opinion, 2 of the 4 best Megas in the game are Fire types. So when you have like Charizard Y and Mega Emboar, it's like, I mean, even Charizard X, right? It's like I'd probably prefer click Dragon Dance Charizard X than.
I would prefer to run Solar Power Mega Houndoom.
Yeah, actually, true. Yeah, probably true. All right. Look, we'll leave him there. Next one, Excadrill. This was a Pokemon I was originally really excited for. Its ability is like kind of cool, Piercing Drill. I think he's just outclassed by his base form. One of the few Megas on this list I actually think is just straight up outclassed by it.
Yeah, Sand Rush is pretty good.
Especially in the current format too, where T-Tar is a really good Pokemon.
I think you could argue that. I mean, obviously, if the base Excadrill probably wants a Focus Sash, but you could argue that this is a good mon because you can choose not to Mega it, leave it with Sand Rush, potentially get some cheeky, Rock Slides off in Sand, or, with just it's got great stab. I mean, like Steel Ground doesn't sound maybe good at first, but
it is offensively very
it actually really is. Like nothing really resists Steel plus Ground, and it's got really good attacks that are pretty solid. You've got flinch chances for Iron Head and Rock Slide. You've got Earthquake if you really want to get, if you've got like a Tailwind setter next to you with Flying type. 165 base attack,
very good attack,
speed.
I think, again, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but this Pokemon is 1 point faster than Eternal Floette, which again, very, very good Pokemon. You threaten it for super effective damage, which is also really, really good. And the other thing as well is Excadrill is arguably the best partner with Eternal Floette, being a ground type. Ground and Fairy coverage is incredibly good. It's a big reason why I think a lot of the popular Floette teams have been, Sand teams. Again, like, I think Mega Excadrill is actually a good Pokemon. Like, I'm happy to put it, like, high B tier. I just think the only issue with its Mega form is, its base form with Sash is, like, probably just more consistent. Like, that's kind of my thought. Like, I probably still have it high B tier. It's just, like, that's the only caveat for me is it's like, why don't I just run its base form? But, again, its Mega is still very good. Its ability is cool.
It gets bulkier. Like, it's got pretty good physical bulk. I think in this meta game, you really want a ground attacker on the team.
Oh,
even
you
if it's
need one.
not. Yeah, so you like ground coverage is amazing. If you've got like a 6 slot, you're basically looking like, right, do I throw a Garchomp on the team? Do I throw Excadrill on the team?
Yeah.
Maybe you've already got a dragon. Maybe you've already got a dragon on the team. You don't want Garchomp. I honestly think Excadrill, I agree with where you put it. I think it's about the same as Froslass. I would probably put it, it's better than Starmie,
100%,
Feraligatr, and Meganium. Only because it's base form, you don't have to Mega it. It would still be really good Pokemon on the team.
I think its base form right now, you could argue, is probably an A tier Pokemon. Like that's my opinion. I do think its base is better than its Mega, but I still think the Mega is very good. But we'll move on. Mega Shandy, I think this Pokemon is one of the few, I don't want to say one of the few, because these guys all kind of got shafted with their abilities, but keeping Infiltrator was... it was a decision. A pretty bad one if you ask me. I guess, what are your thoughts on it, man?
Look, it's mostly a useless ability, let's be honest. Like, it's a bit like Mold Breaker. It's kind of niche. Maybe it'll come up if we get like a screens clef key format or something like that. I think this is a wasted Mega slot. I think there's better Fire types and better Ghost types. I think if we had a full Pokedex, this is like, you'd rather run Chi-Yu, right? Especially you, the leader of the Chi-Yu Church, yeah. I think you'd rather run a Focus Sash Chandelure than a Mega Chandelure, because it's still got 145 base special attack in the base form. I think you'd rather run a Delphox than a Chandelure because it's faster and hits just as hard.
Yeah, well, doesn't it just? Oh,
Well, not maybe not quite, but like it's
Very, very
ballpark.
close. Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
look,
just
I
think
agree. Like, I think it doesn't get enough of a boost to be really justified. It's like everything gets a little bit better. Obviously, it is like the best special attacker in the game in terms of just like raw stats. Like 175 is pretty broken. It's not a bad Tail Room mon. Like, it doesn't need much investment at all to outspeed everything in Tailwind. It also can set Trick Room as well, which is pretty good. Obviously, being a ghost type with Trick Room. But yeah, I agree. For me, I think this is just a middle of the pack mon. It's probably like top of C. Like, again, I think it's good. It's just the opportunity cost. Like, would I want this over Mega Gengar? Like, probably not. And as you said, it has a useless ability. Like, realistically, nothing's really running sub. And screens are like non-existent. Like, I do think Joe Ugade was running Clef, but like in the games I saw him play, like Clef wasn't really coming to matchups. Like, it was just like a steel type on like a sand team where I was like, oh, you just get your Eternal Floette behind screens. But then it's like, oh, if you just give it Tailwind, it also just kind of goes burr, right? So yeah, I think it's probably C tier for me.
I had it C tier, and the only reason I gave it C tier is because you can't discredit 175 base
Yeah.
special attack. Like, that's always going to be at least C tier.
Yeah. No, I am with you on that one, sir. We'll move on to Mega Golurk, though. This is a Pokemon similar to Excadrill, right? It got Unseen Fist. This is the Pokemon that confirmed that our good friend Urshifu, he's not going to be happy when he makes a return.
Good riddance.
Yeah, thank God. So Unseen Fist, for those who are unaware, did get nerfed to be only 25% when attacking through Protect. So the damage output was heavily nerfed. But this Pokemon also got access to Headlong Rush, which is a really, really good addition to its move pool, right? 120 base power stab ground type attack off this attack stat is pretty absurd. It is also probably one of the premier Trick Room sweepers right now at 55 base speed. Ursaluna doesn't exist, which is really good for it. It does get access to Poltergeist as well, so its dual stabs are actually crazy at 120 and 110 base power. It is worth mentioning Poltergeist doesn't make contact, therefore you do not, your fist is not unseen. You can't break the Protect with it. But it also gets coverage like Ice Punch as well, which is pretty good. I actually do think this is a really good Pokemon. I think this is probably one of the premier Trick Room abusers right now, especially with its bulk is really good and its attack stats pretty high.
I agree with you. I think it's got great coverage moves and its stabs are insane. Decent bulk, 159 attack is obviously going to hurt with Headlong Rush and Poltergeist. The 55 speed is kind of where I'm like, ooh, like, this is what's holding. It wishes it was lower than 55. You know what I mean?
If it was
Like,
45, it's really good. Like,
really good. You want to underspeed all those base 50s. I have this as B plus because I think, yes, amazing Unseen Fist. Yes, great stab. You have to get Trick Room up, so it's a little situational. But it's like it doesn't have like a spread move that it can take advantage of.
Well, it gets Earthquake, but you'd need. Could Earthquake with like Telepathy Oranguru be good?
I mean, Telepathy Oranguru is one of those things that's like, it's always in my spice rack, right? It's always in the kitchen on the spice rack. Do I put Oranguru Telepathy in my team? Because there's so many hilarious memes with that Pokemon, but I think this, to me, this is a B plus.
Yeah, no, I think I agree, right? And again, like, I do think this Instruct stuff could be really cool on it. I think its damage is great. Like, I think for me, it's probably... I think I've got it behind Mega Froslass, but like, yeah, I think it's like top of the B tier for me. You good with that?
I am good with that. I think that's a good spot where it is now.
All right, we'll move on to Mega Chesnaught. Do you want to tell me what your thoughts on this are? Because I think I've become a bit of a hater of Mega Chesnaught.
This is something I got super excited when I first saw it. I actually built it in Legend ZA, brought it to the ZA battles, and it just was horrendous. Because like, yeah, here's the thing. I haven't played it in Champions yet, but I think when we get a bigger Pokedex, this could get better. Bulletproof, Kiwi Bulletproof, it's one of those niche abilities where there'll be a format where being immune to Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb is really important. Like, this thing hard walls Amoonguss. It's immune to Spore, it's immune to Rage Powder, it's immune to Sludge Bomb. Like, that's great. Like, if Amoonguss ever comes back into the game, this is your boy. But yeah, 44 speed is great. It gets slower when it Mega Evolves, which I think is really, really good. 172 defense with Body Press is insane.
And it gets Iron Defense as well.
Yep. 137 attack's not bad. It gets Wood Hammer, Close Combat, Drain Punch. It's Wide Guard. I think a Wide Guard user always gets like a little like tick box, you know, for people who play like restricted formats and stuff like that.
Gets Belly Drum, Glide, and Drain Punch as well, worth mentioning.
Its move pool is actually so Sparky Shield. Like obviously we can't discredit that because that chip is really useful. It gets Swords Dance, Grassy Glide. So if we ever get a Grassy Terrain setter, it's very good. It gets Belly Drum. It gets Coaching. These are all moves that like it's one of those Pokemon that wishes it had like 10 move slots.
It's look, my thing with this Pokemon, right, is it has everything it needs to be a great Pokemon. Except a good typing. Like
it's the grass typing.
It's the typing on this Pokemon is so arse. Like, because I remember when I first saw this, I'm like, this Pokemon is gonna be great, right? But then you start thinking about some of the top megas, right? And it's like, well, Charizard, like technically, I think you do. I think you're immune to Weather Ball with Bulletproof, but then it's like, well, Heat Wave's gonna nuke you. It's like, oh, well, I have Wide Guard, and it's like, well, you're just spamming Wide Guard, right? Charizard's also run Air Slash, and you know, for anyone who thinks Air Slash isn't good, Joji is running it. He's ranked 1 on the ladder right now with Air Slash Charizard, so Air Slash Charizard's clearly good.
Of course, Joji's the top of a closed team sheet format.
Yeah, he is the king of the format, right? And then you go down the list, you know, Delphox right now is doing pretty good. Last I checked, Psychic also one-shots this mon. We have the best Pokemon in the game, Eternal Floette, also one-shots this Pokemon. We're seeing the rise of Mega Aerodactyl in the format, you know, Brave Bird, Dual Wing Beat. I haven't done the calc, but I'm assuming even with that defense, a 4 times, you know, super effective attack probably one-shots it. And yeah, like, the more I look at it, I'm like, this Pokemon, it feels like it should be so good. But I just don't think it is. It's like, I even had someone tell me like, oh, you hard wall Mega Gengar. And it's like, okay, it's just going to perish you and you're not going to do anything to it. What are you going to do? Leech Seed it? Like, you know, you're gonna body press it or Grassy Glide it, Wood Hammer? Like, it's like, yes, you hard wall Mega Gengar. It's going to click perish. It's going to click protect. It's going to do something. He's going to pivot out and you've just died.
A Wood Hammer probably does a massive chunk to a Mega Gengar, even with the resist. But the problem is that grass plus...
I was gonna say, you've also got Incin as well, just coming in and out, taking your air. I think for me, it's probably B tier. Like, sorry, C tier. That's where I would put this one. Like, maybe here.
I agree that the grass fighting is the issue because grass plus fighting doesn't actually... Okay, you're neutral to bug now. What do you do? But you're weak to fairy, psychic, flying, poison, fire, ice. Like, these are like...
It's bad.
Types. Every game, every matchup, you're going to be weak to something. Because of the raw potential, I actually had this in B tier, but we can negotiate. I think
I think in a restricted format, it's B tier, because I think if you're supporting like a Kali and a Zamazenta, or, you know, you're kind of feeling like the role of a Zamazenta on a Kali team, maybe it's okay. I just don't think it, like, if this Pokemon is so dog shit in this format, I just don't think it's going to do anything until a restricted format. Like, what's it going to do the second Mega Mence is legal, man? Like, a double edge just going at one tap. It 4x resists all your moves. It's like, not 4x,
maybe it's Hopium.
Yeah.
I personally think Skarmory and Chesnaught are both better than the Chandelure on that list there. But I mean, maybe it's just Hopium.
I think this Pokemon's like, you can just put this Pokemon on the board and click a button and you're going to do something. These two, I don't think so. So at least that's my take. But look, we'll move on anyway to Mega Delphox. Now, this might be a hot take. I think this Pokemon is borderline S tier. I would be happy to put this at the top of A tier, but I think this is one of the 4 best Pokemon in the format right now.
I have an A tier. Spoiler. Here's my thing, right? Here's my thoughts on Delphox. I think Levitate's actually a really good ability.
It is, especially right now.
Yeah, you can sit this next to your Garchomp or your Excadrill or your Dragonite or Gyarados, whatever's spamming Earthquake.
Not your Mold Breaker Gyarados, though.
Sorry, not your Mold Breaker Gyarados. That's a very good point. The thing about Delphox is it's a good Fire-type Pokemon, and I think you can run this in any balanced team or any Sun team without having to Mega Evolve it. It's got 134 speed and 159 special attack, which is, until we get the Mega Z's, they have the 151 speed. 134 speed's really, really good because it outspeeds all those 120s that we've got in the format. Fast Will-O-Wisp, fast Hypnosis, fast Encore, like that that third slot, so you got your stabs and protect, right? That third tech slot, nasty plot, Will-O-Wisp, hypnosis encore.
It gets Hex as well, which is something I've personally thought about. Very interesting move.
Yeah, I think in this format right now, in Regulation MA, it's A tier. Whether it stays in A tier.
I used to think this mon was A tier, right? And the reason why I think it is S tier is because, in my opinion, the 4 best Mega Pokemon, or if we exclude Delphox from this, the 3 best Megas are Eternal Floette, which you have a positive matchup into because you resist its Fairy-type moves, and you also deal really good damage in return. It's Charizard Y, who you abuse its Sun, you're faster than it, and you hit just as hard as it. You also have more special defense. And then it's Gengar, who you outspeed and can one-shot. So, in my opinion, it's already good, but because of its matchup into the top tiers, I think it kind of puts it into an S tier where, like, if I was to do a tier list, I think there's 4 S tier mons, and I think this is the 4th one. To me, like, I think it's either the worst S tier or the best A tier. It's one of the two.
You are convincing me. Like, I think at minimum A+, because I think, like, Incineroar doesn't feel that good at the moment. Like, and this is a really good fire-type Pokemon. I know, like, Charizard has got its flaws, and you're based on, like, Sun teams. But if you're not running Sun, this is like your Firemon. This is a really good.
So I'm just going to add to what I've just said as well, right? So you've got Levitate, so Garchomp, who is, again, arguably one of the best Pokemon in the format. You're immune to its primary stab. You've got Sneasler, who is one of the best Pokemon in the format. You outspeed it and you one-shot it if it's not Sash. And then also, the Pokemon you naturally want to pair with are things like Garchomp, which is really good into Incineroar, which is like your only really bad matchup. Same could go for like D-Knight, right? D-Knight's not a super positive matchup because it can obviously threaten big damage into you. But again, you pair this with something like a Sneasler, you know, fake out attack it, or, you know, D-Knight where you outspeed, you break the multi-scale, you one-shot with the Dragon Claw. I just think this mod, like, in my opinion, it's S tier. I think it's really good, and I'm really glad to see it actually doing as well as it is.
Look, you know, I'll back you. Put it in S tier. And I think it also, you could even run like because it's closed team shed at the moment on online ladder, like, you could even run a Dazzling Gleam and just catch.
Yeah, I mean, Fairy Move is always really good, right? There's what's it called? There's Dragon types everywhere. Dark types too. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. And, like, honestly, like, I could even see a world where, like, Calm Mind Stored Power is actually not even bad either. Like, just set it up and then just start going crazy. Maybe pair it up with, like, Dondozo one day as well with Psych Up. I think that could be kind of funny.
Now you're really cooking, but that's yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that later. You know, you would click Earthquake with your +2 Dozo next to your levitating fire type. I think there's something there. Anyway, we'll move on. Next we have Mega Gren. So this is an interesting one because I actually don't think this one's very good. But I don't
know why you're hovering in A tier.
it's probably B tier at best. Again, kind of similar to what we were saying about Delphox. This Pokemon actually has a really good matchup into, like, all of the top tiers, excluding Floette. Like, it's good into Delphox, good into Zard, good into Gengar, right? It's good into Garchomp because you can run Ice Beam. It's good into Sneasler. You can run things like Psychic. Like, it actually does have a really good matchup into everything. I think it's just the opportunity cost of this thing's really fragile. And if you're not one-shotting something, then you're not really good. I think if Protein was unnerved, this Pokemon actually would probably be an A tier for me. But as it currently exists, I think it's, like, probably a B tier. Like, I would say it's probably, like, around here. Maybe it's, like, maybe better than Gator at its peak, but consistency wise, it's probably worse than Gator.
This might be our first fight for this tier list because I don't understand what you're doing with this Pokemon.
I mean, you just outspeed everything, and you can threaten one shot.
It is 142 speed, but it's this awkward example, and it's not the only one on this tier list. It's an awkward example of this frail mixed attacker where its offensive stats are split in an awkward way, and it doesn't really tank any hits. It's not very bulky, even with the Mega. You know, for me, this is a waste. I had this as a waste of a Mega slot. Like, I don't know if I'd use this as my Mega slot Pokemon. It does get a fast flip turn. I definitely can't discredit that. The Protein, for me, is kind of lame. Like, what are you clicking other than Ice Beam? Do you really want to be an Ice type?
This is kind of like, this is what the set would be, right? And again, like, I think there's potential, right? Because the ability to outspeed Gengar is great in one-shot. You can outspeed Delphox in one-shot it. Technically, I would have to see the calcs. You may actually one-shot a Zard with Nah, it'd probably have to be a physical move, which you're just not going to run realistically. Like,
In Sun?
yeah. Oh, I mean, there are some water types that do one-shot it and some with physical attacks. I do want to say that. Basculegion being the one I'm thinking of here.
Bring up it. Go to Cerebi and bring up its stats. I don't.
It's
think,
like 130 something.
Yeah, that's not. This is a mega Pokemon we're talking about. If you want to, like, I think
it's 125 actually. Look, I'll concede it's C tier. Like again, I think it has a niche just because of its like matchups. But you're right, it's incredibly fragile. That to me is the one major thing going against it. Is it's very very fragile. A gust of wind will KO this thing.
Yeah,
which is
I do like that it's fast, but without a like I think I'd rather run. I'd rather run Starmie or Feraligatr.
This is actually something else I was going to add. I've actually been looking at base Greninja with Choice Scarf to outspeed the base 150s because I think it's like the only like Icy Wind mon that can outspeed things like Mega Aerodactyl, which can be a bit of a problem. Because I don't know, it goes back to my whole Simipour thing where I'm looking at Simipour and I'm like,
no, you're not.
Maybe
you're not looking at Simipour.
I am. Simipour's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. That's my guy. But yeah.
You brought up Mega Aerodactyl a few times. I know he's not on this tier list, but I personally am loving that Mega Aerodactyl is getting some love in 2026. Man, I think that's great.
You know what's really funny? I spoke about it in my video yesterday, and I don't want to say I got some hate, but people are like, really? Mega Aerodactyl? Like, who's playing Mega Aerodactyl? The Japanese, it's everywhere. You look at any Japanese tournaments, man, it's everywhere. Everyone's playing it. Like, it's not even necessarily Mega, right? Base Aerodactyl with Sash is everywhere. Like, I don't want to go into a side tangent because obviously this video is not about Aerodactyl. I played against it. I almost lost to one today. If it wasn't for Venusaur being the goddamn GOAT clicking Sleep Powder, I would have lost to it. Like, it's actually a sleeper mon, man. And I think it's a really fast Tailwind, and Honecore's dual Wing Beat with Tough Claws is insane.
I was loving it on ladder because I was running dual Wing Beat and just throwing Whimsicott, even if it was Sash.
Whimsies and Venusaurs both with Sash. But
yeah. What I don't like is that Rock doesn't resist Rock.
Silly.
If it gets hit by a stray Rock Slide from like a T-Tar or an Excadrill, it is gone. Don't get caught by surprise like I did. It will die to a Rock Slide.
All right. Anyway, speaking of good mons, let's move on to, in my opinion, the Pokemon that is warping the format, Mega Eternal Floette. What are your thoughts on this beautiful?
It is beautiful. There is something aesthetically pleasing about a black flower. Let's be honest. Like it doesn't look cool. Do you know what I wrote down in my notes for this Pokemon?
Tell me.
Fluttermane. I just wrote Fluttermane. That's what I get. Fluttermane vibes from this.
Sorry, go.
It's instead of 135 speed, it's got 102 speed. But they gave it 155 special attack, 148 special defense.
What are you missing?
It gets Light of Ruin. It gets Fairy Aura. So it's a mini Xerneas. It gets Moonblast. Oh.
So the thing with this Pokemon, right, is like I actually did see someone was running Psychic the other day. I think they were playing against Sableye VGC in the Champion Hub Tour, and I think he was like in his mind he was like, oh, Mega Gengar wins this. And then it's got one tap by a Psychic, which was really, really funny. But again, this Pokemon, right, you got things like Moonblast, it gets Draining Kiss, it gets Light of Ruin, and it gets Dazzling Gleam, right? You pick two of these, right? Yeah, you're always going to play Moonblast. Moonblast is the one move that is 100% on this Pokemon. Protect is the other move that is always on this Pokemon. And then you have to pick, right? I think if you're going to play Draining Kiss, you've got to play Calm Mind, right?
Right.
Calm Mind can also be played with Dazzling Gleam, right?
Yep.
Or you could just go, hey, I'm going triple Fairy Stab. It's dumb. And it's like, we kind of mentioned it earlier. Like, we saw, like, from the calc you showed us, right? Mega Steelix with max HP... Sorry, Mega Skarmory. Mega Skarmory with max HP can get one shot by this Pokemon. Light of Ruin has a chance to KO or resist with 110 base per death. That is not balanced. And its bulk's good. I've had people try to tell me it's frail, right? Don't get me wrong, 74 HP is not great. 87 defense is really respectable. And 148 special attack is fucking absurd, right? And then another thing worth mentioning, right? So I tested a team that did really well in that tour. Fairy Aura doesn't just boost this Pokemon. Fairy Aura affects the field. You compare this with a Sylveon or a Primarina. Primarina is what I played it with. And you buff up the Primarina's damage. I had a Fairy Feather Primarina with Dazzling Gleam doing ridiculous damage to Pokemon I had no means doing damage to, right? Like, I had a Steelix come in on like a Moonblast and it took like 50. And it's like, that's a Primarina clicking a Moonblast. It should not be doing 50 to a Steelix. I mean, I think this one warps the format, right? It outspeeds all the base 100s. It speed ties Garchomp. It pairs so insanely well with the Sandcore right now. Like T-Tar, Excadrill, and Floette just, they pair so well together. This is, I think, easily the best Pokemon in the format. There's just Resist can't take this thing on, man. It's dumb.
It is the best Mega. I think the best way to play it from my limited experience is the Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Moonblast set. I think I get a Calm Mind boost up, start swinging with Draining Kisses. I 1v4'd someone on ladder last night. I was down to my Floette and I 1v4'd them just with
I was gonna say I paired this thing with Mousehold when I first started testing it. It's so stupid. Like, you go max HP, you give it Friend Guard, and the Mousehold doesn't have to do anything. Mousehold gets Super Fang, by the way. Mousehold also gets Fake Tears. It gets Encore. You can run, like, Focus Sash max speed. It's like, do you really want to protect in front of this thing? I'm gonna Encore you into it. It's like, yeah, I think this mod's dumb. I think it's the best Pokemon in the game right now. Like, I pretty comfortably. I will say, really shitty this Pokemon is locked behind the ZA paywall. It's like the only Pokemon that you can't get naturally. But I will say, I've heard a lot of people claiming that they've got on the GTS and they're robbing poor kids. Because people are treating this like a regular Floette and trading it away for garbage. Like, I got a friend who apparently he was complaining because he couldn't get this. One of the boys was like, jump on GTS. Apparently he got 2 of them for nothing.
Are they real ones? Or
yeah, apparently they look legit, like 100%. Like some kid has got this Floette and thought, like, hey, this
crazy.
Yeah.
So you have to finish.
You have to finish the game. No, you have to finish the game and then do 15 battles. I think it is in the whatever it is. But yeah, if you don't have a Floette, check out the the GTS, because apparently people are giving them away.
The one thing that stops this Pokemon from breaking the entire game is it's got no coverage. Okay, you said
doesn't
Psychic,
need it.
No coverage moves. Like Steel types, at least. Maybe not.
I don't think it needs coverage if it's 2-shot and resists. Just saying.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like yeah. We got a new Pokemon to hate on. But I mean, if you can't beat it, join it. You know, start running it.
I'm with you. Now, speaking of Pokemon to hate on, anyone who played the the pre-champions ladder, the custom ladder on Showdown, this was a Pokemon I think a lot of people had in the S tier. And then they gave it Trace instead of Psychic Surge, and now it's literally unplayable. I don't see what this Pokemon does. Competitive in base form is cool, but just play Mega Alakazam. Like, this is a bad Pokemon. Like, I don't see what it does. Like, Trace is so unreliable on a Mega that it's like, if your stats aren't beyond broken, I don't know what this does.
This, so, pros and cons, 124 speed, 143 special attack, okay. I think you're better off running Alakazam or Gardevoir as your Psychic Mega if you want to run a Psychic Mega. One thing I'll say that's like slightly in its favor is that its base form gets Prankster, which can sometimes be
You're
useful.
Not using Prankster on the Mega version though.
No, but like if you don't Mega Evolve it. And it also gets Fake Out. And Fake Out Mons are never useless, even though you can't click it after turn 1 now. But like, it's too frail to set Psychic Terrain. The waste of a Mega slot. I had this F tier, but I think it's better than Chimecho.
I don't. I think Chimecho has bulk and a Steel type. Like, this Pokemon's saving grace was competitive, right? So female Meowstic has competitive, which is really good into Instant, which is a Pokemon that naturally wants to lead into you. It also gets...
And what does it do?
I think... Oh, actually, no, I think it lost Earth Power. So it got Earth Power in ZA, but it lost it coming into Champions. So that was another thing. But it does get things like Moonblast, I believe, still, right? So, like, again, maybe it's not as good as the pre-Showdown ladder where it had competitive plus Earth Power. So that kind of does hurt it. And that makes me even think worse of this. I thought this thing had Earth Power. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's F tier. I think this mon is useless. I actually think it's worse than the 2 mons we currently have here. Like, I think this
What
is
were they,
probably the worst Mega in the game.
what were they thinking though? Like that's what I want to know. The developers, what were they thinking about giving it trace? That doesn't make any sense to me.
They weren't. I think that was the problem. No, like I personally believe, right? And I think no, I think I was talking to Mark. It wasn't you I was talking to about this. I personally believe they intentionally gave us like 20 of the shittest megas on launch because one, they wanted a low power format, but two, they want room to buff Pokemon while they're still adding Pokemon, right? I see a world where Regulation MB, they're like, hey, Meowstic has Psychic Surge. And then we're all going to fucking lose our shit. Because I actually do think this Pokemon Psychic Surge is broken. But until that day, yeah, I think it's garbage. I think it's the worst Pokemon in the game. Or the worst Mega in the game. You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Let's go. All right. So, Mega Hawlucha. This is one I originally thought this Pokemon was garbage.
Yeah.
And then we all saw the tech. And I still think this is a gimmick. I laugh because I had people commenting on my videos. I saw people commenting on Twitter saying they need to patch this. This is broken, blah, blah, blah.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah, anyone who thinks Hawlucha with like, is it entrainment or entertainment?
It's
Entrainment,
entrainment.
yeah.
And so like any Pokemon with a one-hit KO move can now have no guard.
And it's like, I think technically Ninetales is the best one with sheer cold. Like, it's the fastest. I think it's like Ninetales, or it's like, I did actually see someone running Torkoal Fisher because it was like interesting. It was like a semi like Sunroom team where they had like a Trick Room mode with like Drought Eruption, but then they also had like Fisher plus Entrainment. The way I would say this is...
I've seen Excadrill as well. There's a lot of
yeah, Drill with...
like...
It gets Fisher and Horn Drill, I think, which is funny because I saw someone running Fisher and I'm like, don't you just run Horn Drill? Like, isn't Horn Drill better? Because it's like Levitate and Flying types, you know? But I guess you could say the same with Horn Drill and Ghost types. But I think this Pokemon, if you were not in the Master Ball tier, is probably B tier. I think if you're in Master Ball tier... it's C at best. This Pokemon's a gimmick. Like, I would go as far to say as it's not as good as Chandelure or Greninja.
I actually think you were being a bit too kind to it. So, yes, no guard means niche, funny, and catch someone unawares if they don't know about it. A serious player will see a Mega Hawlucha and double it before it gets entrainment off.
Or you just like KO its friend and you just ignore it because it's not a good one.
It's got really awkward speed and really awkward bulk. It's got 137 attack. That's not
which is
terrible.
decent. It's decent.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the issue.
I think this is kind of an awkward mon that's a waste of a mega slot if you really want to build a team around it. If you want to be that Smeagol muck kind of like guy that runs no guard entrainment, Hawlucha, go for it. But the problem is that what does no guard give it? High jump kick.
If they protect, you still lose half your HP.
Yes. Yes. Now, if you were like a Wolf Glick, you could use that and be like, right, they're going to protect in front of high jump kick. You've got Encore. They protect. You click Encore. They're stuck in protect. Then you can set up and then do whatever, right? Funny in close team sheet, maybe. But I think it's so, like, dumb. I went C minus. Like, I think this is...
Yeah. I feel like that's how I kind of feel. It's like, I think it's somewhere in the mid to low B tier. Like, maybe you've convinced me, like, maybe
I think it's
like
probably
here.
better than Victreebel.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel. Like maybe here, because like, again, it's like, it's just the opportunity cost. And again, like I see people talking about why this Pokemon could be good, but like, let's be honest, right? You're either playing HO where half your team outspeeds this, you're playing like a Tailwind team where you're going to outspeed it, or you're playing like a Trick Room team that probably has redirection and fake out, and it's like, you're just never getting this off. Like, they're going to redirect your ability, right? They're going to fake you out so you don't get it off. They're going to set Trick Room, they're going to sweep you. It's just, yeah, I think this is a very bad Mega Pokemon.
Low ladder cheese. And also, before you get red for filth in the comments, do you want to explain what HO is?
Oh, HO, yeah. Hyper Offense. H. HO.
HO.
To be fair, I've only been roasted for that on a video with you guys. You must bring out the Aussie in me. But alright, Mega Crab. This is an interesting one. It keeps Iron Fist. Pretty decent Trick Room mon. This is also one of the few Pokemon that really benefits, I think, from the removal of custom IVs. because now at -1 you do underspeed Torkoal. Quiet Crab is slower than Quiet Torkoal at -1. Which is definitely worth mentioning, I think. You do have Ice Hammer as well. That's why we're mentioning this. Ice Hammer does drop your speed by 1. It's a stab move.
If it hits.
Yeah, 90% of the time. It works 100% of the time. Which is, it's good, right? It keeps Iron Fist, so it does get boosted, right? So it gets that 1.2 times boost, making it basically 120 power. So it's pretty good. This Pokemon has good stats. Its bulk is solid. Its attack stat is solid. Ice is a really good offensive type. Fighting is a really good offensive type. Ice Fighting is a garbage defensive type. It's awful. Look, it does get some stuff. I think it gets Hammer Arm now off memory. I think I saw someone say. I think it still gets like Close Combat as well. So like, it has options. Like, there's definitely stuff it can do. As a Trick Room one, I think it's decent. I personally think it's B tier just because I do think it is one of the best abusers in Trick Room. But yeah, I guess like, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, you said a lot of stuff I agree with. I mean, hot take. I think they need to buff Iron Fist. I think
like
1.5.
Yeah,
agreed. But it's like, you know, the ones they give it to, and people, look at the Pokemon, Hitmonchan, Ledian, like it's a bunch of trash. Like, buff it. But I've written a lot of like pros for this Pokemon, right? 33 speed is great. 157 attack, great. Bulk, even though it's got lots of weaknesses because it's Ice type, the bulk is great.
Yeah, hundreds across the board, basically, right?
Yeah. Offensive stats and offensive stabs, like, because it's you know, Ice Fighting is great. It's Wide Guard, again, never underestimate a Wide Guard user. And it also gets Mach Punch, like Iron Fist stab Mach Punch based from a 157 base attack is that could claim scalps, that Mach Punch. The only thing stopping this Pokemon from being like an A tier Pokemon, in my opinion, is that it doesn't have like Glacial Lance. It needs a spread move. If this Pokemon had like a stab, ice, or fighting spread move, it would be like voted in Trick Room teams.
I think one thing I want to say as well is like, Ice Hammer is not a good move and it can miss. It's like, and I get it, they don't like making ice moves that are good. Outside of Ice Beam, of course. Like, Ice Spinner was a great step in the right direction, but like, again, I think Ice Hammer should be at least 100. Like, I don't think it should miss. And I also think you're right about Iron Fist. Like, my issue with Iron Fist is it is literally such an inferior Tough Claws, right? Iron Fist has to be a punching move, and it's 1.2, right? Tough Claws is like 1.3, and it's any move that makes contact. So it's like, not only is the conditions way easier to like meet, but it's also just better numbers wise. It's like Ice Hammer, right, on a Tough Claws Pokemon is better than Ice Hammer on a Iron Fist Pokemon, which I think is pretty bad. And it's something I would like to see eventually changed.
I'm wondering, do you think this would have been a good opportunity to buff it? Because they've nerfed and buffed a few other things. Like, maybe they're thinking like priority punch moves would be too strong if it was like plus 1.5 or something. But at least make it like a life form. At least make it 1.3, you know? Yeah. I think they need to buff Iron Fist, but I still think the mon's good. I've got it B tier, and I think when you've got it, you could even argue it's better than Feraligatr.
I think it's, probably here is where I would put it. I think like middle of the B tier. It's not a bad mon. It's probably better than everything else we're about to talk about, but yeah, leave it there. We'll go on to Drampa. This is one mon I was personally really disappointed in. The leaks that got a lot of things right said this Pokemon had Drizzle. And this goes back to what I was saying about they're going to buff him, right? You know, like, we know that the creator of this game, the producer, said in an interview that his favorite Pokemon to use in Champions was Absol Z, right? Which means these Pokemon were all in the game. They've been removed. I'm praying that Drampa with Drizzle was in the game and then was removed.
Yeah, because like, do you know what really annoys me? That we've got no Mega Pokemon that sets rain. We've got Sun, Snow, and Sand. And I think it's weird that we don't have a Mega that sets rain. And this was, obviously it doesn't get Water Stab. That's fine. But like,
it gets all of these moves. All three of them.
Yeah, and 36 speed. It's like a great Trick Room. Okay, that's unfortunate because it needs, just like the Crabominable, it needs Trick Room to be like a threat. And I will say that Berserk is not terrible. We've seen
it's not bad.
Galarian Moltres Berserk sets pop off even in restricted formats. Like, you know, it's not a terrible ability. It's kind of bulky if you max out the HP.
Yeah,
because it's got
it's quite good.
110, 116. Yeah, so like, Berserk's gonna pop off. It's gonna activate at least once, and you can get clever and try and heal it, and you know, proc it again with like, you know, Pollen Puff or Heal Pulse or something. The problem with it is that Hyper Voice is kind of mid.
Yeah, Hyper Voice is a move that's good if you have Throat Spray, and if you don't, it's not good.
Yeah. And you can't attach an
or
item
your
to
Ursaluna.
So
that's the other one too.
yeah. It does get Earth Power, which I think is
yeah, it does.
You need to like because it's
hit steel types.
Dragon normal is resisted by steel. Getting Earth Power is a massive boon for it. It does get 160 special attack.
It actually has insane coverage. Like, I wish this wasn't, like, telling me this Pokemon didn't learn anything. Because Drampa's coverage is actually insane. Like, it has crazy coverage.
If you go to Cerebi and, like, scroll through, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Draco Meteor coming off 160 base special attack is never going to be bad.
Gets Blizzard.
And something I thought about it for this Pokemon, because of its bulk and because you can run it with, like, Amoonguss and stuff like that in future regulations, it gets Roost. You could theoretically run like a Calm Mind Roost set, and potentially those Hyper Voices and stuff might start actually doing damage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after one Calm Mind, it's a good move. That's like going back to the whole Throat Spray stuff. If you get up as like a setup, it's good.
Yeah. And Berserk might get you another free setup. So I mean, I think this is C+. Like, I would put this...
I'm looking at this. I think it might be... Yeah, I think it might be here. Like, because, again, its bulk's really good. I think it's still a good Trick Room mon, even without Drizzle. And I think you're right. Like, you can play this on Trick Room, maybe with, like, a slow Heal Pulse spawn that can just, like, keep topping it up. And I think it could be pretty good. But, yeah, I think for right now, I'm pretty confident putting it here in the top of C.
Yep.
Now, this is your boy. I'll let you give us the spiel.
And I built a Scovillain team. It had like Torkoal, it had Mega Venusaur on it too, so you had the two different Megas. Sorry, my notes say it's slow and frail. Let's not pretend. It's 75 speed and like abysmal HP and defensive stats. Spicy Spray.
Really cool ability.
Its cheese ability is like, it's like unfortunate because it's not bulky, so it can't take many hits. There's nothing that Mega Scovillain can do that base Scovillain with Chlorophyll and Focus Sash can't do better, which I think is very unfortunate. So I think it's a waste of a Mega slot. I think there's two ways you could cheese this, and I'm not saying it's good. I still think this is F tier, but you could cheese it. It's got the biggest boon for it is that its base form gets moody. I was running Substitute, Protect, Leech Seed, right? And then like Flamethrower. And I was just spamming Protect and Sub with like other support ones and attacking those, you know. And I was getting like +3, +4 in defenses and special attack, and actually becoming a threat. But it is such a RNG based ability. And it's like, it's your Mega slot. Like, you can't win a game around Mega Scovillain. It's going to be so hard to win a game. The other meme thing that people have said on the internet, and obviously Ursaluna's not in the game yet, but because you could spam Earthquake Ursaluna next to it, and it's going to burn your Ursaluna because of Spicy Spray, you actually not have to run Flame Orb on an Ursaluna. I think it's
suicide the Scovillain.
Yeah, I think it's dumb.
It is. Choice Banded Ursaluna does go kind of hard though. Just burn it.
It's F tier, but like his little jacket and tie.
Honestly, this Pokemon is like a 20 HP buff to like from being maybe okay. Like, I think if this thing had 85 base HP and was 85, 85, 85, maybe you do something. And like, maybe if they didn't shaft it with like all into like mixed attack, like if you could put 40 of those attack points into speed and bulk, maybe it's like okay. But yeah, I'm with you. I think this is F tier. The ability in theory is sick, right? It's actually a broken ability, I think, but they've put it on a Pokemon that can't abuse it at all whatsoever.
And like Rage Powder on a Pokemon with that HP and defensive stats is just cruel.
And you're also Rage Powdering your Mega, which again, opportunity cost. I could just Weather Ball with a Charizard. Like, you know.
Someone one day will do something dumb with this Pokemon, but it is F tier, but it's funny, and I like him aesthetically.
And
I wish he was
I'm with
good.
you. So before we move on to the last mon, looking at the list, is it time to move Froslass up?
Because I think Froslass is significantly better than Golurk to start with. I think we have to. I still think it's A minus, like it's the lowest of A.
Well, there's only two of them.
Yeah, like I think actually putting it next to Dragonite, they kind of do feel around about the same sort of power level at the moment. I don't mind it.
No, I like it.
Like there's
such
a yeah. It just shows you that there's like
the issue
like
is
these S tier ones and everything else is like.
And that's the problem with Megas, right? Like, again, obviously Charizard's not on this list, Gengar's not on this list, but I think those two, with these two at the top, are the 4 best Megas in the game. Now, I think the last one here is our next A tier Mega.
Ooh, okay.
Hear me out.
Another fight.
Again, so going back to what we were saying about Delphox, right? Delphox is good into Gengar, right? It's good into Froslass. Sorry, not Froslass. Eternal Floette. It's good into Zard. This Pokemon does everything I just said better. With adaptability, you one-shot Delphox. Again, Delphox is probably an interesting one because Delphox does one-shot you as well. So it kind of depends who's faster, and naturally it is Delphox. But it's a Pokemon that's really good into this guy, Eternal Floette. It's really good into Charizard. It outspeeds Charizard, right? I think Glimmora is an anti-meta Mega. I think Glimmora is like maybe like a Mega 2, like as a second Mega on a team. And yeah, and with adaptability, this Pokemon hits really hard. And it hits 101 speed. You play this thing timid. You outspeed Charizard. Like, this is a Pokemon where you can lead this into Charizard and you know you're going to outspeed it and one-shot it. Just got to pray that the Venusaur sitting next to it doesn't have Earth Power or you're screwed.
You know what this reminds me of?
Tell me.
Back to Reg MA the first time in Scarlet Violet. There was that strat going around with Terra Poison, Choice Specs, Eternatus with Sludge Wave. And you would just kind of just like Terra Poison and just try and like do as much as you could with a Spec Sludge Wave with like a Helping Hand, Steel type next to you or something. I don't know, whatever the strat was. That's the vibes I get with this Pokemon. It's got 150 special attack. 101 speed is unfortunately not good. It's outspeed by Garchomp.
It's not bad. It's not great.
Yeah. Decent bulk. I can't... Like, it's got decent bulk. I'll give it that. I think you would rather run a base Glimmora with Focus Sash than run a Mega Glimmora.
So, the one thing I will say, and this is something that we might not see on day one, but this is something I think we'll see as the meta develops. A lot of Pokemon, especially anything slower than 110 base speed, will start running Adamant and Modest natures. I think all the Garchomps will start running Adamant, regardless of what their set is, and a lot of them actually are, especially if you look at some of these top teams, especially the ones coming out of Japan. All of these Garchomps are Adamant bulky, right? Same with the Charizards. We're seeing people, and again, I don't want to like, leak too much here, but there are a lot of people who are guaranteeing that their Charizards live Rock Slides off things like Garchomp, right? So all of these people are running Modest, Adamant, bulky, and that's where I think Timid Glimmora comes in, because as you said, its natural bulk's really good. And it also doesn't need the investment into its, like, it doesn't have to be Modest to deal damage because of adaptability. It has that built-in, like, buff that not many other Megas have, right? Like, when you think about the top Megas, it's like, what's it called? Eternal Floette, it gets Fairy Aura, right? So it essentially has a free Life Orb. Charizard has, Drought, so it's getting, like, 1.5 times bonus to its special attacks. And then Kang, who is like maybe the 5th best Mega in the game right now, he also gets his like, mini like 1.25 times boost. And that's why I think Glimmora is good. I think this Pokemon is actually slept on. Like my hot take is this is the bottom of A tier. Like I think there's even an argument it could be better than these two.
What you're saying is that once the metagame stabilizes, you reckon this Pokemon's gonna like Articuno Utrecht the metagame and just swoop in out of nowhere and like as an adjustment to the meta and just win a regional based on the fact that that's kind of the vibes, right? Like it's like you're saying everyone's going to go slow and bulky for the 110s or less, and this is going to swoop in unexpectedly.
I would love to see the cut, because you were saying like earlier that Mega Floette and what was the other one that one-shot D-Knight through multiscale? Was it opposing D-Knight?
Opposing D-Knight, Draco Meteor,
So I want to know, does Power Gem do the same? Because with adaptability, you might get it because you hit harder than D-Knight. Of course, you don't have the benefit of like Power Gem is awful compared to Draco Meteor in terms of damage. But this Pokemon is really hard, and adaptability is really
I'll
good.
look it up for you. I'll look it up for you right now.
You look it up. But this is one of those mons that I think is low-key being slept on. I think it is going to be a Hyper Offense's answer to Hyper Offense. That is how I see it being played. You're probably going to pair it with Whimsicott or Talonflame, and you're probably going to have like a Choice Scarf Basculegion with like Icy Wind, or like some Scarfer that outspeeds all the fastest mons in the format with Icy Wind. And that is what you're going to see this mon find the most success on. Like, if you remember the Casino team that like was played in like at the start of Reg F when Glimmora like with the power what do you call it, Meteor Beam stuff was going around, the reason that was good was because of what's it called, like you played it with like a Boost Energy Flutter with Icy Wind, and you paired it with Tornadus, so you were able to make sure this Pokemon went first. And I think that's what this is going to end up being. In saying that, there's not many great Icy Wind Pokemon. That's why I was talking about literally Gengar and Simipour, sadly. But yeah, I do think Glimmora is like low-key third best Pokemon on this list. And that might be my Scooteasy hot take, but yeah.
So I've actually calculated Modest to give it benefit of the doubt. Modest, max investment, power gem to a multi-scale full HP Dragonite with only, I did 2 HP investments. So it's like max attack, max speed, and then like the little 2 HP. 82 to 97.
So okay, so you don't even care, but you're close. You're close. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like it does feel like it is one good rock move away. Like one thing I was saying that they should do before the before this game dropped, and I know a lot of people hated me for it, but I was saying Meteor Beam should just work the same as Electro Shot and Sand. Just let people start firing it off. And I got some comments saying that like Assault Vest T-Tar would just start clicking Meteor Beams, which again it would be pretty funny. But yeah, I do think if maybe it had a base 100 type rock type move, maybe it's a bit better. But
I think the thing with the Electro Shot is that we got to remember that it's non-stab. I think if you started giving Meteor Beam the same perks with like rock Pokemon, it would be a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I still like this one. I think it's good.
I think we need to negotiate here because I legitimately had Glimmora as C tier. So can we put it bottom of A at least?
Yeah, I'm happy to put it bottom of A because again, this is my hot take, right? I know I'm probably gonna get roasted for this. I'm gonna get roasted for it, but I think it's good. And I think we'll see.
Commenters that roast you, I want them to know that I think this Pokemon is like C+ at best. So roast Scoot Easy, do not roast me. Roast this guy down here. Roast him.
Well, because of this, I'm gonna get some positive comments. They're gonna be other people in the chat are gonna be like, you know what? I also think Glimmora is good, and that is my hot take.
They're gonna be your alt accounts. Your alt accounts.
Yeah, it's all my burners actually. It's all my my showdown alts. But yeah, anyway, Chris, we're at the end of the list here. I guess look, having a once-over, is there anything here you would change? I'm not too fussed on the order here. I think every like tier could probably be shuffled around outside of the S tier. But yeah, are there any final takes you want to say before we wrap this up?
Yeah, we talked about a lot of mons needing rain, and like Politoed and Palaf, I just feel without all the items that we can have in the format at the moment, like you kind of limited. Like, you know, if you run Pelipper, you have to give it kind of Focus Sash at the moment, and then like you can't
Scarf as well as being quite popular.
Scarf, yeah, yeah. Like I'm starting to doubt whether Meganium is B tier, but I'm going to stick by my guns because I think it's better than Drampa and Greninja. I don't actually.
I think Drampa's better. I think Drampa's better than Meganium. But I think Meganium's easy to use because of its speed tier.
Yeah,
I think the peak of Drampa is better, but I think the consistency of Meganium is probably better.
I think the general consensus is that there's a lot of bad megas that have come out of the new ZA like megas, but there's enough to cook with to keep it interesting. And even Pokemon in C tier, some of those I can actually see being on like a regional team and getting like day 2 quite easily. So with the right player,
it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, because obviously one thing to keep in mind as well is we actually only have, I think, 3 events on this format outside of the GC. I think there's like 1 NA regional, and then it's Japan, Nats, and NAIC. So unfortunately, we're not going to see that much. Obviously, there's a lot of online tournaments. I don't know how much you're keeping an eye on Limitless, but there are like, it feels like every day, like a tournament with at least 100 plus players. And I am planning to hopefully play one tomorrow. And there's a Japanese tour as well that I think has 500 players that I'm hoping to play Sunday.
Shout out to MDB for getting, I think went 6-2 with Mega Lopunny.
Yeah,
I love
shout out
missing
him to
Mega Lopunny.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, Chris, I guess as we wrap this up here, is there any final things you want to say? Where can the people find you and all that good stuff?
First of all, shout out, please, to the O2 Drop VGC podcast, the world's best for adults Pokemon VGC podcast. Please go check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at the Mazda, the MARRSTER. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me on. This is my first ever like YouTube tiering video. I love it. I love a good tier video. I always love fighting with the content creator about where they've put Pokemon, and now I get to actually have my say in a video. So thank you for inviting me on, Scoot Easy.
Anytime. And guess what? Now you can fight with the commenters about your bad opinions.
I will. I am going to be in those comments like a rash, mate. I'll be all over it.
Look, I am looking forward to it. But anyway, Chris, obviously, thank you for coming on. We'll have to do it again sometime. But yeah, that is it for this one. We will catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Bye.